Hello everybody, I'm Carla J and welcome to Carla J Motivates. The video you're about to watch is of an interview I did with a very dear friend of mine, Ina Robinson. Ina has cancer. As a matter of fact, she has stage 4 cancer. I met Ina a little over a year ago, and I can truly say that she has been an inspiration in my life. I had the privilege of seeing her speak at a women's conference not too long ago. And one of the things that touched me the most in her speech was her unwavering faith and positiveness as she endures everything that cancer has brought her way. I know that you're going to be inspired by watching this video. I pray for my dear friend daily. Prior to doing the video, Ina discovered that the chemotherapy that she was taking wasn't working, wasn't effective towards reducing the numerous tumors that have invaded her body. And shortly after this video, she's going to have to start radiation. I ask one thing of you, that you connect with me as I continue praying for my beautiful friend. You know, y'all, it's one thing to talk about faith, but I have truly seen this beautiful warrior, Ina, walk the journey of faith. And I believe in miracles, and I believe that God is going to heal Ina's body completely. I am connecting with her, and I need for you to connect with me. And I know also that this video is going to be very inspiring. It really is. She's a beautiful person, and I wanted her to share her journey with cancer with you. So, with no further ado, I ask that you sit back and watch this wonderful, inspiring video of a beautiful warrior's journey with cancer, none other than my precious dear friend, Ina Robinson. And remember, kind of like the light that's shining around me today, continue to be someone's beautiful bright light in darkness. God bless you. Thank you. Goodbye. Who is Ina?
Well, I am a wife, of course. You met my husband, Michael. I'm a mother of three. I have a 31-year-old, 26,
Wow.
and a 19.
You look great.
Thank you. And I also enjoy singing. I love the old traditional songs that you don't really find a lot of people doing anymore. So my husband called me a hymnist. Yes, I love the hymns because that's the root, and it helps people to go through. Just like my ancestors or grandparents or whatever, you would find them in the kitchen humming that old song.
Yeah.
But it helped them to go through, and I find that is my encouragement for myself. It's those old songs.
That's wonderful. When did you receive your diagnosis?
My first diagnosis was December 2012. 2 weeks before Christmas, as a matter of fact. And I was shocked. It was stage 3, vaginal, what they call vaginal mucosal melanoma.
Okay. What were some of your symptoms?
I was spotting, and I knew, I was like, okay, why am I spotting? I knew that I had a hysterectomy, so a lot of those things shouldn't have been occurring. So something inside said, go get it checked out. And I knew it wasn't time for my annual checkup, but I went on anyway. And my doctor, she was curious when she did the annual exam. She was curious of a spot that she'd seen. And so she says, well, I'm just going to biopsy, shave a little bit of it off and do a biopsy just to see. I don't think it's anything, but we'll see.
What was the time frame between getting the test done and then receiving the diagnosis?
It was 2 weeks because it takes 2 weeks for them to send it off in the lab. So I was still waiting. So it was early part of December, and then it was 2 weeks shortly before Christmas that I got the call.
And then what was that waiting period like? What was that waiting period?
It was nothing, because she had said that she didn't think it was anything. So I'm like, okay, this could be something that the body's going through changes. Exactly. So I wasn't frantic about anything, upset or worried or concerned. I just went on day by day, until I got that call. And that
were you
call,
at home?
I was at home.
Okay.
I was at home. I was at home. And when my doctor called me, all frantic and just, I was like, "What's going on? What's going on?" I had to calm her down. I had to calm her down. And then she finally told me. She said, "Well, I had to call you before the oncologist." I said, "Oncologist," which I knew what that meant. Called you. She said, "Because your results came back that you have mucosal melanoma." And I was like, "Okay." It was like numb. So I was like, "Okay, so what do I do about it?" Exactly. And she says, "Well, are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay."
But were you?
I think that I was shocked a little bit, but I was okay. And the reason why I was okay is because in the year of 2000, if I have time, I'll share a little bit. In the year of 2000, November, I had a dream. And in that dream, I was hiding in the midst of a crowd of people. I was in this valley, and I was hiding. And I knew that on that particular day, someone was going to be. It was like a spiritual ritual or something that this calling from God or a pointing from God would come, and someone was going to be chosen for a journey. And here I am thinking I'm not worthy to be called for such, And in my own personal life, I was still growing and I was praying, "Lord, fill me with more anointing. I want to do more in your work." And, the old saints say, "Be careful what you pray for."
Oh, definitely.
And so in this dream, I was hiding in the midst of a crowd. And then all of a sudden the crowd just moved. And I could see like a shadow coming down towards me and says, "You. Are you willing to suffer for me?" And it's just a small, faint voice. "Are you willing to suffer for me?" And I'm looking up and I'm like, "Me?" "Yes. Are you willing to suffer for me?" And I said, "Yes. Yes, Lord. Yes, I am."
In the dream.
In the dream. This is my dream. And I said, "Yes, Lord. Yes, I am." And so the voice said, "Then you are the one."
My God.
And it said that you will take the long journey. And it's going to be hard, and it's going to be dark, and it's going to be obstacles in your way, and you're going to see evidence of those that gave up or didn't make it, but don't give up. Keep going. Wow. And even when you reach the top, don't give up, because you'll see evidence of those that reached the top and still gave up. And I'm like, "Oh, Lord, okay, can I do this?" Don't fear, because I'm with you.
All of this is in the dream.
All of this is in the dream.
So then when you wake up, what are you thinking? Like, God?
What is it? What is this journey that I'm going to have to go through? Now, mind you that I do have lupus. Now, I had lupus prior to the dream, and so I was already dealing with lupus.
So did you think there was a correlation between lupus and the dream?
And the dream.
No clue what was coming, and that was 12 years back.
Exactly.
Before your diagnosis.
Exactly.
Oh my God, my mother used to say God gives us warning. And he prepares us. So he was preparing you.
I was at ease. I had a peace.
Wow.
And you know how the word said, he gives you that peace that surpasses all understanding. So I didn't understand why, I had to receive this diagnosis, but then I sort of tied it into the dream.
The correlation between that.
Yes.
Like, God, this is what you were preparing me for. Next, how did you tell your family? How did you tell your husband? And what was their reaction when you shared it? How much later? Did you share it the same day?
No.
Oh my God, you carried this by yourself?
I carried
how long?
Well, every year my family and I, we take my mom to Dallas to visit with my sister. So I told you that I received
2 weeks before Christmas.
2 weeks before Christmas. So we did the Christmas, we had the Christmas at home, and then we went on to visit my sister in Dallas. I'm just happy go. And
are you serious?
Karen is.
You haven't told anybody?
Nobody. I haven't even told my husband, but we were just dating at that time, so I hadn't told anyone.
Oh my God. No one. So then when did you decide to tell them, and who did you tell first?
I told my husband. I told Mike, and I said, I don't know how I'm going to, bring it to them, because I know that it was going to be more of a heavy blow for them. And so we talked about it, and what I did was I called a family meeting.
You did?
I called a family meeting.
Yeah.
And
Were you at home?
and I was at home with my mom, and I had everyone to come over, and I shared the news then. And so it was just like a silence.
Yeah.
You know, the ones that took it the hardest were my children,
Children.
especially my oldest, and he's still struggling with it right now.
Did that change the way you thought about your disease or your diagnosis after seeing how they responded? Did that affect you at all?
No, because I shared briefly about the dream. And
Wow.
one thing I have is a praying mother. So, you know, and so I knew that with prayer and with the support of my family, that we'll get through this. And that's what I kept saying. We're gonna get through this. We're gonna be okay. Well, you know, and that's exactly the way that I took. I'm like, okay.
That's amazing, and that's what you call true faith. Since your diagnosis, what has been some of your struggles, or your greatest struggles, and your greatest triumphs?
The hardest part while I'm going through this is the waiting. And when I say that, I mean in between my testings.
Which occurs how often? So
well, at the beginning stage, when I first was diagnosed in 2012, I had the cancer removed February, shortly before Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So I did the 4 months of aggressive chemo.
Okay.
And then after that point, I went to see the doctor every 3 months. And with that, I did blood work and PET scans and CTs and MRIs and things. Well, I did the PET scans every 6 months, but the CTs and the MRIs I had to do every 3 months. And so it was during those waiting time, you know, as you're waiting for the results to see, okay, so is it moving? You know, is it still the same? Am I doing better? You know, because as I'm always researching, and you know, you have to be careful with your research because you go into the spirit of depression real quick. And I'm like, oh my God, you know, the prognosis of this particular type of cancer, which is very rare. They said mucosal melanoma is only 1% of the regular melanoma that is out there. Right. You normally see it on the advertisement about skin.
Exactly.
Right.
That's what you're correlating.
Yes, exactly.
With that.
But you don't hear many people talk about mucosal melanoma. And then it's very rare for African Americans to receive
a diagnosis. Chemotherapy.
Yes.
What, you know, our hair is our glory. You know, we've been taught that our hair is our glory.
Yes.
So, you know, the first thing you hear, chemotherapy, usually women, we correlate that with the loss of our hair. So how did you get through that, and when did the loss occur?
Well, my first bout of chemotherapy was very, very aggressive, very, very aggressive.
Now, when you say aggressive, what do you mean by aggressive?
The side effects. The side effects.
Which were?
I was unable to tolerate anything, even drinking water. So I was always regurgitating. I was always and then the fatigue.
And how frequent did you get the chemo?
I was one every 3 weeks. Initially, I was one every 3 weeks. As a matter of fact, like I said, my husband now, we were only dating. So he would drive all the way from Houston to Tomball to take me.
Tomball? Okay.
Take me.
Now, how soon after did you start losing your hair?
Well, this is actually the second diagnosis. I received the second diagnosis. As a matter of fact, today makes 1 year that I received the second diagnosis that the cancer had returned.
So then there was a time that you were in remission?
Yes.
And how long was the remission?
It was
stage?
3 years.
3 years.
3 years.
So what happened? I mean, how did you
Well,
discover that it had resurfaced?
Actually, it wasn't me. It was during those cycles that they do the scans, because what they told me was my first original doctor, who has since retired, had told me that this particular cancer has what you call macro cells. They're really, really, really tiny to where they can't even see it when they do the scans. So they have to wait until it appears. And that's what happened, was that they had noted a small spot on my lung, on my right lung. And so they didn't want to go in and do anything yet, because they wanted to see if it would just, disappear itself or grow. So it was the moment that it started growing was when they was concerned, and they said, well, maybe we better go in and do a biopsy.
Wow.
And when they did the biopsy.
So how do you get through not one diagnosis or not one bout, but another bout? I mean, is it like you have to start reframing your thinking process all over again
Well,
to get back into that mode of
a
recovery?
little bit. I mean, I understand what you're saying. A little bit. Now it's for me. It's more like, okay, Lord, you know, you in my dream, you told me that I was going to see evidence of people not making it. Not if I can tell you, if I can count the many people that I have met that have had cancer and given up and passed on, and I'm like, oh God, you know, I can't believe this. But again, my husband always reminded me the dream. And so because of that dream, that's what keeps me steadfast
and grounded in faith.
Grounded in faith.
Yes.
And I believe that had I not had that dream, I don't think me being human, I don't think that I would have made it.
So has there been much of a difference from going through the first diagnosis and the second diagnosis?
Yes, a big difference. Again, this is when I had the last treatment, which was my dates are not that good. A couple months ago, early part of the year, where I was doing what they call a clinical trial of immunotherapy. And what they're doing now, or what they have found out now, is that they are able to use your own immune system to ward off the cancer cells, along with certain trial drugs. And what it does is it hyperextends your immune system. And then for me, like I was telling you, I have lupus.
Right.
So that was the battle, because lupus affects the immune system.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely. So then the big question again, how did you deal with the loss of your hair?
That was I think the strongest part that I had to deal with, because when they had told me that, you know, you have a chance of losing hair, I'm like, okay, you know. But again, God spoke to me in a dream and said that I had to go through it in order for people to see. And I'm like, well, Lord, you know, I'm like, okay, but you know, I know I said yes.
And the losing of the hair was evident.
Evident, exactly. Because people would always say, well, you don't look like you, you know, you don't look like. And it was because it was during that time, again, like I said, he showed me, or he spoke to me in a dream that said, you have to go through this so people can see. And so that the day I had my hair braided, and I did like this, and it just came out. It just came out. I was like, oh my God. I mean, just literally, I just sat there and did like this.
What would you say to somebody else who's just receiving a diagnosis and they're concerned about the chemo, the effect of the chemo, the losing of their hair? What would you say to that individual?
Well, one thing that I would like to say to you is ground yourself around people that are truly a prayer warrior, because the support of your family and friends and church members are crucial in a moment of this, because you hear so much in the media and on Facebook or the internet, you know, of the prognosis. They say 5 year is usually the length that most people would survive with cancer. Or you meet other people that tell you, oh yeah, I had a loved one and they passed, and then you start consuming all of that negativity. So it's important that you stay in the Word, you know, find a scripture, or pray and ask God for a scripture that you can meditate on. You know, when you feel that you are about to slip into that depression and that woe is me and that pity and I can't do this, because it's not easy. It is definitely not easy.
No, I believe it's anything except for being easy. And one thing I've always said is, and I really and truly believe this, I believe that every storm comes with two things in particular: lessons and blessings. Lessons and blessings. Sometimes we can get so focused on the storm that we miss the lessons and the blessings. Hence, God saying, well, you know what, I'm going to take you through another storm because you missed it. You know, and you don't want to miss that. So with that being said, what lessons and blessings have you witnessed as a result of your diagnosis?
Let me throw this little footnote in when you're talking about lessons and blessings. Because I've already figured out now that God deals with me in dreams,
Mm.
and in a short dream, He had said, "I'm not going to remove this thorn completely." So
Wow.
with that, made me realize that I won't be completely healed from the cancer, and the reason why is because I need people to see my works through
Yes.
you.
Wow. Isn't that a blessing?
So I'm like, wow, Lord. I'm like, okay, then take me through the storm.
Yeah.
But I know that while I go through the storm, that you're right there with me.
Hallelujah. And your faith is so wonderfully strong. And as you were saying that, I'm thinking to myself, I bet that you have been an inspiration, a complete inspiration to the people, because when you go and get the chemotherapy, I'm sure you're surrounded by other people.
Mm-hmm.
How do you motivate them, or are you strength to them, and have they strengthened you?
Well, and being that I take my treatment there at MD Anderson, you get a chance to see people from all over the world, and I've had many people to come up and tell me, "You're just so beautiful.
You
Oh my
are.
goodness."
You are.
And I'm like, okay, thank you. And I guess I try to stay humble because that's my prayer, Lord, keep me humble in all my ways and everything that I do. And so I'm always, like I said, someone's always coming up and just saying, there's just something about you.
Exactly.
And I just say, okay, Lord, keep letting your light shine.
Yeah.
So whatever I can do to try to encourage, if it's just my presence, or if it's a song, or if it's a word, or if it's just a scripture or something or prayer, something that I can do, to encourage someone. And I pray that God continues to use me to do that.
And He is using you, because, as a matter of fact, when I saw you on the program where you and I were guest speakers, and I heard your story, I thought to myself, this is a beautiful woman who God has given this struggle to be an inspiration to others. And as you were on the platform speaking, I could just feel your strength and your faith. And I know that others around you, including myself, felt the exact same thing and continues to feel that. And what an inspiration to others. Where are you now in your disease? Where are you now?
Well, I am still stage 4. And once you get to stage 4, then you don't go back. There's no, go back to stage 3, go back to stage 2, go back to stage 1. No. Once you've actually, because what happens is that it metastasizes, it's already spreading, so it moves forward. And that's why I am now stage 4. Like I said, today marks a year that I've been diagnosed with stage 4.
So is it stable?
It's still, the last time that I had some CTs and MRI done, it was showing that the tumors on my lung were growing, and that there were some additional tumors, small tumors, that are in the pleural space near the lung. And so what their plans are now is for me to start radiation.
I'll start radiation. How soon?
As a matter of fact, I got an email yesterday that I will see the oncologist on Monday.
Have you had radiation before?
No. This is going to be the first.
What do they tell you to expect from radiation?
Is it
any difference than the chemo?
A lot different, because what it does is they told me that it's like 20 times hotter than the sun. So I'm like, oh, okay. And to expect that some of my skin in the area where they beam in.
And where will they beam in, if you don't mind me asking?
No, it actually right under my breast, and I have 2 of them right on the lower part of my lung. So right in the center next to my spine, I have 2 of them there.
Wow. So you will start radiation hopefully soon. Does that mean that you won't be doing any more chemo? There's no chemo and radiation simultaneously?
Well, the plans are to do the radiation, and then not at the same time, but like a week of the radiation, and then the next week I'll do some type of immunotherapy again. They're not going to do the chemo because I didn't respond to the chemo. It's the one where I lost my hair. I didn't respond. My tumors didn't respond to the chemo. But they want to try another clinical trial with a different type of immunotherapy drug along with the radiation.
Okay. Hard question. Okay. And you have the right to answer it or not. But what if the radiation doesn't work? What are the doctors saying? Have they said if the radiation doesn't work, or the next steps don't work, what have they said,
And
if
I
anything?
asked that question the last visit that I had, and he told me that because of my lupus, that there are certain clinical trials that I wouldn't be eligible, I wouldn't be healthy enough to try, but there are still many other options that I have.
Oh,
So
great.
I have a
Great.
pretty good team, and I think, like I told them, you can't give me the final diagnosis. I serve a God that has the final say. So they already know that. They don't come towards me with this, well, your prognosis is, no.
You don't receive
I
that.
don't receive that. No.
Okay. Where do you go from here? Where do you go from here?
Well, it's my desire to continue to spread my story.
With the hopes of what?
With the hopes of encouraging others, because I know I've seen the evidence of those. As a matter of fact, I had a cousin that passed away early part of the this month with cervical cancer, and she
How old
battled.
was
She was 32. 32. Yes.
Wow.
And I was able to minister to her during her time, because she would share with me often that I was that encouragement for her. And so it is my desire to continue to just help someone along the way, whether it's cancer or just hard times or whatever struggle that they may be going through. I just ask God to continue to use me, to pour into me, to pour out to someone else.
What would you like to say to someone else who's going through or who's about to go through what you've gone through? What would you like to say to them?
What I would like to say to them in the words of a song is that you can make it. You can make it. I don't care what's going on. God won't last too long. You're not in this thing